everybody, welcome to Lessons with Troy. I'm Troy Brenningmeyer. I wanted to talk about some different ideas and concepts about playing in open D tuning on the resonator guitar, but more in a bluegrass style, right? Where you can do different bluegrass licks and things that really lend themselves well to open D tuning. Now, some of you may ask, well, why open D versus open G? And really, it's because I just have been obsessed with open D for the last several years. But also, I find that it does lend itself well to some certain things. If you're playing songs in the key of D, right? You get that low bass note, and then you can use a capo. I've got my Charlie Slide Pro capo here. You put that on your second fret, then you're in E, the key of E, but with that lower E note, right? So keys like D, E, F, the key of F works great in open D tuning. Just capo on your third fret. You could even put it way up on your fifth fret and play in the key of G in open D tuning. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but definitely those keys D, E, F work great in open D tuning, as long as you have a capo. But a lot of those open string kind of ideas is what I wanted to talk about today, and kind of some concepts about how I think about chord tones and approaching chord tones. So we got a lot to cover in this lesson. Let me go ahead and switch this camera over to here, and we can jump on in here. So I've got a jam track here that I'll be including in this full lesson on my streaming site, lwtstreaming.com, and it's for the song Greenville Trestle. I know of Doc Watson doing that. I'm not sure if he's the one that wrote it or not, but he's got great versions of it. And just a real common country bluegrass chord progression. Let me go ahead and play it for you so you can hear it, and I'll kind of improvise a little bit. So let me slow that down, some of the different ideas and concepts. First off, the chord progression to this contains a D chord, right, your one chord. And let's slow way down and think about the different chord tones to a D chord. D, F sharp, A. So what I like to do is I really like to know the fretboard of my instrument, right? Where I know where all my notes are at. So I know where all the D notes are at, the F sharp notes, the A notes. So let's just start by thinking of our tuning, open D tuning. We have a D on 3 of our strings, right? Strings 6, 4, and 1 are all D notes. Okay, and then let's focus then on the third of the chord, the F sharp note, right? D, F sharp, A are the notes in a D major chord. So we get a nice F sharp note on this 4th fret. Now, anytime you get a note on a D string, then you've got that note on your 2 other D strings. So you get F sharp here and F sharp there, right? Your major third. So let's just stop there and think about kind of how I started off my improv. And here's a nice lick to get into that target note of our major third, our F sharp note of that D major chord. So I'm hammering on 0 to 2 on my 2nd string. Right? You can do the same thing on your 5th string. Right? And then I do open first, open second. And then I slide up to that F sharp note, my major third of that D chord. Do the same thing on strings 4 and 5. right? So what I'm doing there is I'm thinking, well, let me hit that major third, right? So then I'll target that major third, and however I want to get to that, you know, maybe I can, or, you know, whatever I'm thinking that's my target note. Okay, the next target note is let's target that A, which is the 5th of my D chord. You can just slide into it, right? That's on your 7th fret, 1st string, 4th string, and 6th string. So immediately what I like to do is also find these notes all over the neck in different locations. So I find that F sharp here. It's also on my open third. Find it here. Find it here. The A note. Remember, whenever it's on a D string, right? D, D, D. You got those on your other D strings. And then you've got those, you got your D, A, D, F sharp, A, D tuning on your 12th fret too. Always keep that in mind. So your F sharp note is here on your 3rd string there. And your A note is on your 2nd and 5th string. And then of course your root notes are on 6, 4, and 1. D's. So even just that lick alone, that's a great lick to target that F sharp note. Let me show you how you'd start that off. So I'm thinking I'm going to hit that F sharp right on beat 1. So I rewind, and as this jam track gets going, 1, 2, 3, ba ba dum bum, right? 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Right, then it goes to a G chord there. But we're slowing everything down. We're thinking of each chord. There's only 3 chords, right? D, G, and A. So when you start slowing down and you put that in your file folder in your brain thinking, well, I can, there's my F sharp note. That's a great note to target when I know it's on that 1 chord or that D chord in the key of D. And then it's good too to get these open string ideas, because then all you got to do if you want to play in the key of E, just like I said before, capo it and take everything and move it up 2 frets. Or if you want to play in the key of F, take everything and move it up 3 frets, right? Now that lick can form into something like that, right? Where you go F sharp, E, pull off to D. Right, 4, 2, pull off to 0. And then I do a pull off 2 to 0 on my 2nd string. Then I'm going to resolve it to my root note. D note. Well, remember, when you do licks on your 1st string and 2nd string in open D tuning, your 4th string and your 5th string, it's the same exact frets. So then you got that lick. Okay. So now we've got a couple really useful licks that are targeting that F sharp note and this pattern here. Now I always like to talk about shapes and patterns here. The pattern here you're seeing, see how you go 4, 2, 0, 2, 0. Right? 0, 2, 0, 2, 4, 2. Now, what makes this bluegrassy, right, as opposed to bluesy or whatever? Well, because that F sharp note is our major third of our D chord. Yeah, D, F sharp, A, right? Think of those root third, 5th. D, F sharp, A, D, F sharp, A. Well, the third, right, the major third is what keeps it happy. Bluegrass music, when you're playing, a lot of times it's real happy because it has that, it really focuses on that diatonic kind of major third. Well, if you didn't want to make it so happy, right, that major third, what you could do is take that F sharp note, move it back a fret to an F natural and target that. Right, now it's more of like a minor sound, but or you can go F to F sharp, do a slow bend, and now you're in the bluesy world. Right, F to F sharp, same thing in the lower octave. So keep that in mind, that F natural will make that bluesy. Well, the other thing is as we go to the G chord, easy way to go to the G chord, just go to a G chord on our 5th fret, right? Like that. Well, what we can do too is we can start targeting the different notes of our G chord. The notes of a G chord are G, B, D, right? Root, 3rd, 5th, G, B, D. So what you want to do is find those notes in other locations on your instrument. So we got, of course, G, B, D here. G, B, D, G. G's on our 1st string here. Right, there's where our root notes are, right? Root, root, root. Always think in open D tuning, you always want to think 3rd is the 3rd. The 3rd string is the 3rd of your chord in root position. So there's your B note. And your 5th is the 5th. The 5th string is the 5th of your chord. So it's kind of neat how that works. And then the 2nd string is just an octave up from the 5th. So remember, that's a good thing to remember. 3rd is the 3rd. 5th is the 5th. As far as 5th string is the 5th. 3rd string is the 3rd of your chord in what's called root position, meaning where your 6th, 4th, and 1st string are the roots of your chord. 6th, 4th, and 1st string. Make sure I say that right. So in a G chord, D is the 5th of a G chord. Well, we got lots of D's in open D tuning, right? Because that's, so the root note of our 1 chord becomes the 5th of our 4 chord. Lots of numbers there, but just think D. The D note, G, B, D are the notes in a G chord, G, B, D. So obviously your D notes work over a G chord. G, B, and you have a B chord, B note. So then let's find a different B note. Remember I said 3rd string is the 3rd of your chord. But if we want to find that on our 1st string, it's the same spacing as what we had over that D chord, right? Where we have D here and we went up what's called a major 3rd, right? Which is 4 frets, not counting the fret you're on, gives you a major 3rd space, or major 3rd distance. So in a G chord, you can slide up to the 9th fret 1st string. That's the note B as in boy. So now we have a target note of this B note over that G chord. So let me slow this down, this jam track here, where we can play it a little bit slower. Starts off with D, G. So what did I do there? When it went to the G chord, I just played the 3rd of my G chord there. And then when it went back to the D chord, I just slid that note back to an A note, because I know A works over D, F sharp A. It's the 5th of my D chord. Okay, let's move on to the A chord. Obviously, you've got all the notes that can work on your 7th fret for A, but let's maybe think more in this general area.